I understand what you have to do.
What?
I'm not a fighter. Go ahead.
I'm a little busy here. Pick up those rags.
I'm not gonna swing first.
Good.
Just hit me and get it over with.
I said I'm a little busy.
I'm not leaving until you do it.
The idea that she's coming into the kitchen and creating a scene in Red's workplace is just another poor move by Piper. If she really wanted to do something like this, like fight Red or get beat up by Red, she should do it in the bathroom. It's time to get into secrets about how inmates really think. Orange is the New Black is one of the best shows about low and minimum security prison. There's a lot of realism in here and a lot of stuff that's just movie magic, so we'll talk about both as we go through the show together. I was a commercial pilot and I flew marijuana around the country in a private airplane. I was convicted in the biggest drug conspiracy in Washington state history, and I did time in prisons just like this. Orange is the New Black brings back vivid memories. There's secret nuggets tucked away in every scene. Unless you've spent years in prison, you're gonna miss a lot of the best stuff in this show. Stick around to the end of the show and I'm gonna rate this episode on prison realism. Also, leave any comments asking why or what prisoners were thinking when they did things. Without further ado, let's get into episode 2 of Orange is the New Black, but first, let's set the scene. Piper has recently pissed off Red, who is the head of the kitchen. Red is starving her by not letting any of her cronies serve Piper food in the chow hall. Piper's gonna get her first visit and also is gonna try to figure out how to stop getting starved.
That's disgusting. And unsanitary. Keeps them warm all day long.
That's something that you see often is people smuggling things out of the kitchen. They do it by shoving it down their shorts, into their bras in this case, and anywhere they can get it out. And also something you'll notice here is there's not a lot of cops in the kitchen. It's going to be a lot of inmates like this. They are running the show. It's fairly low risk to be smuggling food out of the kitchen, and that's one of the main reasons that people like to work in the kitchen, because there's a lot of food. You can take that food back to the dorm as she's doing now, and then you can sell that to other people, or you can just eat goods.
So we need request forms for next spring's non-perishable.
Bring them tonight.
Tori's getting out in 6 weeks, so we gotta train someone new on the feed slicer.
Look into little Sarah. Make sure she never stabbed people.
And Betty's been acting up again. The bitch is gonna fuck us.
A little patience. She's been here a lot of years. I'll deal with her.
This is something else that you see often is the inmates are kind of running the show as far as, you know, who comes into work, who needs to be rehired, who's going home, what new people come in for the job. So something that to understand for new people who are in prison is that you're not really just getting jobs from officers all the time. A lot of times the officer has to okay it and sign it off, but it's the inmates ultimately who are going to decide whether or not you end up working for them or with them.
I have to go to another prison. A different one. You have to move me.
Did someone try to engage with you sexually? Tell me what happened out there.
It's getting sketchy. He's bringing out the pen. That's sketchy when you see the pen come out. What you don't want to do is get involved talking to the officers and things like this, where when they're pulling out a note and they're taking down pen, writing something down, that basically means you're about to tell on someone. I think that's what she saw right here, is realize like this is going down a road I don't necessarily want it to go down, and this is something prisoners have to make this decision often. Do I turn to officers to help me, or do I figure things out for myself? And in the real world, a lot of people want to go, okay, I'm just going to ask the cops for help. And that makes more sense. When you're in prison, the cost benefit of asking officers for help, the amount of help they're able to give you compared to the amount of retribution that you'll get from the inmates, is just not worth it. So majority of the time, unless you're ready to just go full on into lockdown and sit in a solitary cell by yourself where you're safe, majority of the time you have to figure out how to deal with everything by yourself and not go through the cops. So this is something that Piper is beginning to learn here. So we'll see how that develops over time.
I just freaked out.
Good move.
I'll be fine.
You will be fine, Piper.
Sit down.
This is orientation. Everyone's got to go through orientation when they first get to prison. It's basically a way for prison to cover their liabilities, give you all your disclosures, tell you everything that's going on.
Hi.
Welcome to the Federal Department of Correction,
Man,
where we strive to maintain facilities that are
these
secure,
videos.
humane, and cost-effective.
This is spot on.
Night school classes are offered
My God.
3 nights a week. There are a variety of recreational activities available, and clinical visits are offered at the inmate's request.
These shows here, these things are notoriously just like silly, low budget, and this is a great example of what they look like. You'll have different ones orienting you to prison rape and things like that. At one point they had an inspection going on at one of the prisons I was at, Lompoc, and they were so interested in us passing the inspection with flying colors that they made sure we knew like these 6 things that you had to be able to say and repeat. They set us in a room, about 30 of us, and they put this TV on, an episode like this, maybe that was 10 minutes long tops, and they literally left us in that room for 6 hours, like all day with that on repeat. It was a very weird, disgusting form of torture, and I'm not sure how that was justified.
Some days it'll feel like there are no other thoughts. Do it, they'll say.
Uniform issue is next week.
Hello, ladies.
These admissions and orientations, seminars take hours, all day, sometimes multiple days. What happens is inevitably people raise their hands, they ask stupid questions, the other inmates end up hating them because everyone wants to just go to the prison where they can actually learn about what's going on.
Next. No, wait. Next.
Bread. So the kitchen has a lot of power like this. They can not feed you or feed you. You have to be in good terms with the kitchen. This is a funny nuance of prison. It's like there's not outright physical violence a lot of times. There is just petty, like, we don't like you, you're not sitting here.
You gotta fix that, make it right.
How? I find it best to confront things head on.
You know what? I'm just gonna apologize. I'm just gonna very sincerely apologize. People make mistakes. People say stupid things all of the time. You just gotta understand that, right?
A funny nuance of prison is that apologies don't work. Heartfelt, I'm sorry, let's talk about this, doesn't really work. That's not what people are interested in. It's a whole different game. It's a game of power and manipulation and going and saying, oh, I'm so sorry, you know, this is what I was thinking and feeling, you know, I respect you, has little to no effect, and a lot of times it backfires because people just see weakness in that. The best approach is to fix the situation more practically.
White girl said something nasty about Red's food. Then Red sent her a message because white girl better recognize egg McTampon, rare. So now nobody's getting behind to eat, not until Red says so.
That's... Thanks.
This ain't gonna get Red in trouble, right? Because I ain't no snitch.
No, of course not. I mean, probably not.
Yeah.
I haven't decided yet.
Hold up. Where my candy?
This is a good representation actually of how the officers, the counselors specifically interact with the inmates. They do get a lot of inside information. There's people that work directly in the counselor's office. They'll take out their garbage, they'll clean, they'll essentially be their assistant. An inmate will be the officer's assistant. They will form a bond, they'll start talking, the inmate will share information, and what officers try to do is make friends with the inmates and get a line towards the inside. It's not all nefarious. They are just trying to essentially make sure that the prison itself runs smoothly. They don't care so much about people breaking little rules and people doing this and that. They care bigger picture that everything runs smooth because it makes their job go easy. So definitely depends on the officer. Some of them are really nitpicky and you know, they're busting people for everything. Let's say they bust people for some contraband like having protein powder or something like that that's not from Commissary. But there's other officers who don't care. Those officers who don't care about the small things but are trying to make everyone's job easy and make the prison run smoothly, they are able to make friends with inmates and actually get information like this.
I really apologize. I'm sorry.
Give me something.
You seem sweet.
You seem easy to manipulate.
You really do, honey. But I can't do shit with I'm sorry. Not in here. Might not look like it, but there's rules in this place. The most important of which is the second you're perceived as weak,
There it is.
you already are.
So Red's right. Apologies don't matter in prison. That's not what it's about. It's about power and getting things that you need. And an apology doesn't help Red at all. Red is putting her in a position where she has to make some decisions. There's essentially 3 decisions that that I would see if I was in a camp. One is to come over the top, and so either go threaten Red or show some more power and force her into feeding you. That's a rough kind of dead-end road, because with violence you're going to go up to a higher security prison, and also you're not going to be able to force someone to cook you and give you good food. They're going to know when you're in line and they're always going to be able to be ahead of you when they're serving food. So that is a rough road to take, so I wouldn't take that road. The other road is probably just to pay Red off. She wants something. She doesn't care if you're sorry, but if you give her a pack of coffee or something as a gesture of, this makes up for the mistake I made type of approach. I wouldn't be into giving someone something, because I think that sets a poor precedent. Some people might want to force you into giving them things in the future, so I would stay away from that option. Third option is just to stay away from Red. Make yourself scarce. Keep your mouth shut. That's the problem with prison in general. When people get there, they do things like Piper right now, where she's talking too much and digging herself holes. So what I would do, keep my mouth completely shut, deal with not getting fed in the lunchroom for a week or however long that lasts, maybe pay someone on the side to cook me food personally, find some sort of hustle to support myself until things blew over, and just handle it like an adult, and not try any more apologies or any more acts of service towards Red. But we'll see what Piper does.
What the fuck is this?
Oh, it's my treat. I'm saving. Just leave it.
Leave it? Fuck leave it. You can't put your sticky ice cream shit in here.
It ain't just an ice cream. It's a king cone.
Man! You!
Please tell me y'all ain't fighting over ice cream.
Some things are right in this scene. Some are just kind of silly. The ice machine scene, yeah, for sure. You can't be putting ice cream in the ice machine. The whole camp is using that ice machine, so people are touchy about what goes in that ice machine. There's a scoop that you use, and I got yelled at one time because I was using the scooping some ice into my cup, and I was doing it over the ice machine, so some ice hit my cup and bounced back into the ice machine, and some OG came up to me and said, "Hey, motherfucker, keep your dirty ice out of the ice machine. It's bouncing off your cup. Let it bounce off your cup onto the ground." I said, "Okay, thank you." And then I left. And by the way, that's again, you're not just sitting there apologizing, "Oh, I'm sorry." You just say thank you and go, because it's about being assertive in prison. But the idea that someone's going to put ice cream in there, they're probably going to get called out. It could definitely lead to a fight depending on the response. If you didn't say okay, thank you, and walk away like I did. If you said, you know what, I'm going to do what I want, then yeah, you're probably going to get in a fight, but you don't have to. This fight that happened here probably is going to happen a little bit like that, with a scuffle breaking out and then inmates breaking it up. The thing about fights is that if they just happen off the rip like that and they're not planned or in a bathroom or somewhere hidden, all of the inmates can be punished group punishment isn't supposed to be a thing, but yes, people absolutely lose their privileges. Things get tightened down a little bit if there's fights, so the inmates don't want fights happening very often, or unless they're somehow sanctioned or planned, because everyone doesn't want to lose their privileges. So inmates will, if it's a little stupid fight like this, try to stop it before the cops come. Now, last part of this, if the cops end up coming, they are not going to take it easy like that. If you're fighting, you're getting handcuffed right there and you're getting taken to the shoe. Yeah, definitely the guy that slept next to me had one of those breathing machines for sure. Oh, dude, the guy next to me used to shave his nails like that all the time. Oh, it's so annoying.
I had troubles like you. There was a disagreement. Then we brawled. That's how you settle things. And if I'd have won, I'd have been the jefa. Good talk.
There's always inmates that are giving bad advice and acting tougher than they are. This lady is a decent example, telling her to brawl. People are always going to say stupid stuff that they wouldn't really do. If you're at a low security prison, you're going to go through a metal detector and get wanded like this. If you're in a camp, then the visitors won't get metal detected and wanded.
Look, it's a fiance.
Should be on the list.
And I should be an American Idol, but I can't sink the shit. Now Larry Bloom here.
What?
Oh, this is from last week.
Where's this week's?
In another office.
They nail the staff interactions. The inmates will wait by fences or the windows where they can see the parking lot and see people come in. And a lot of times, inmates who are friends will stand with each other and watch and point their family members out. Oh, that's my sister, that's my daughter, that's my wife or my girlfriend. And, kind of introduce from a distance. You do build bonds in prison. You do have friends. And, a lot of people are like, oh, this friend's coming. This is who they are. That's them, and it's visiting is one of the really pleasant, nice times of prison. If you're getting visits, or if you're not getting visits, it's kind of cool to see your friends get visits and see who their family is and just, feel like you're fitting in.
Can I have some gum?
Sorry, can't do that. Inmates aren't allowed.
I get it. You can't give special treatment.
It looked funny, like I liked you.
Don't you?
Yes, there is flirting between inmates and guards, kind of like this. It starts off very slow. Over long periods of time it can build, and you just picture these people are coming to work every day. These officers are coming to work, these nurses are coming to work every day. Sometimes they're spending every day with a set of inmates, or specifically one inmate. Sometimes someone will work in an officer's office, and they'll really get to know them well. And these relationships do develop. They always start very slow, building trust very slowly, because it's such a touchy situation. Everyone can get in a lot of trouble, and so it's high risk, but this does happen.
Oh, baby, hey.
That's enough.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
you
so
get told to
sorry.
stop hugging after a
I
second,
swear
for
I was
sure.
here, but I think they were deliberately fucking with me.
No, it's fine. You're here. Oh,
You look great. I mean, who knew you could rock orange?
please.
Seriously, and your face is like all cheekbony.
Well, I haven't eaten since Wednesday.
What?
She's starving me out.
Who?
Oh my God.
They do have vending machines like that. They have soda and ice cream and popcorn and things like that. So when your visitors come, you're not allowed to handle the money as an inmate, but your visitors, you always tell them bring ones and brings quarters if you can, because you get a chance to eat some different food than you normally get.
It work, honey.
No.
Inmate, step away from the machine.
called you Inmate.
Piper
You too,
has-
sir.
Sorry?
Piper's
This is her.
out of control.
Who are you talking about?
I would never be doing that in a visit. Scaring my visitors, having an officer yell at me.
I insulted the food.
So here's the thing. In a practical way, you want to put on a good face. You have someone coming to visit you. It's their first time visiting prison. You're there. You should be a little bit more used to it than Piper is, even though she's new. She shouldn't be scaring her friends and family when they come to visit and be complaining about getting starved out and smacking a vending machine, having an officer yell at her. I mean, this is just too much. I mean, who's going to come visit you if you're acting like a weirdo? You have to get yourself under control and put on a happy face, because you get to see your family once in a while, and you shouldn't be putting extra stress on them. If anything, you should be pretending like everything, like you're in a country club and things are going well, because you've put yourself in this situation. You've also put your family in a situation where they're scared for you and nervous, and to put them through into more scared and more nervous state because you're out of control is unacceptable, and this makes me disrespect Piper.
Your foot and mouth disease?
I mean, idiot. She's issued a fucking fatwa against me. I think I'm gonna have to fight her.
What?
How am I supposed to prison fight an old Russian lady with back problems?
Hey, Piper, but come on. You're not. That's ridiculous. You don't have to fight anybody, okay? Hey, stop.
No touching.
This is what a visiting room looks like, and that is the rule. Hug on the way in, hug on the way out. You can usually hold hands. Some officers let people put their hand on a thigh or usually around the shoulders, but that's about it. You get a hug and a kiss on the way in, but it's got to be short. If you start making out for any time over like a second, you are going to get yelled at. So it's pretty strict.
She was a good girl.
No one heard her go.
Get over it. It's a freezer. See what happened? There was a breach in the main coolant line.
Don't ask.
I don't intend to.
Thanksgiving's coming twice this year, ladies. Spread the word.
So this is a good example of the one officer. He's probably the kitchen officer. Actually, the kitchen officers tend to be pretty cool generally because they're working with a lot of people. They're in charge of getting the food out. What happens is when the inmates are well fed, or when the kitchen staff specifically has access to a lot of food, they make that officer's job really easy. So they tend to, those officers tend to make their job easy by building quality relationships with the inmates, because the inmates will work hard for them in turn for kind of privileges.
Okay. I understand what you have to do.
What?
I'm not a fighter. Go ahead.
I'm a little busy here. Pick up those rags.
I'm not gonna swing first.
Good.
Just hit me and get it over with.
I said I'm a little busy.
I'm not leaving until you do it.
These things need to be handled in person. The idea that she's coming into the kitchen and creating a scene in Red's workplace is just another poor move by Piper. If she really wanted to do something like this, like fight Red or get beat up by Red, she should do it in the bathroom.
You want me to hit you?
Yeah.
Okay, get ready. You called my food disgusting. You're not getting hazed. You're not getting harassed. You're getting starved to death. You'll leave Litchfield as a skeleton in a body bag. Pow! Now march your yuppie ass out of my kitchen. Slowly, so you don't burn too many calories.
If you look at the officer right here, he's not even paying attention. He's got his back turned. He's still working on the machine. And that's actually possible that he would do that because he doesn't want to see. I think what they're trying to show here is Red pushed her a couple times. You can't lay your hands on someone like that. If that officer actually sees that or saw that, then he's should be writing one of them up or both of them. So what he's trying to do is, hear no evil, see no evil. Again, these officers, especially kitchen officers, they are running a crew of inmates, and that officer doesn't want to see anything that would get Red in trouble or hear anything that would get Red in trouble, because Red runs his kitchen crew. So he's conveniently looking the other way right here, as you can see. So some inmates...
Sir, I told her not to. Jesus
Yeah, that's not going to happen. No.
I need a new freezer.
We can talk about this later, Red.
You have been saying that for 3 years.
We're dealing with a very serious budget situation here.
Should I subdue the inmate?
The warden has been very clear about spending this quarter.
You want me to walk? I'll walk happily. Remember the last time I gave back the keys to the kitchen?
I'll see what I can do.
Thank you.
So there's some truth in this. I mean, it's definitely movie magic that she's going to go into the bathroom and talk trash to him. But some inmates, especially these ones who run the kitchen or that are running important crews at the prison, they do have a lot of sway. They can kind of make requests/demands of the officers or the people that I need this so that I can get the job done. Because again, the officers want things to run smooth. Their work is easier when the crews are running smooth, and there's certain inmates in positions of power that make the crews run smooth. So they need to keep those people happy, or else the prison starts getting on shaky ground. Things don't get done, because in reality, the inmates are doing 90% of the work that gets done at the prison, and so for that work to happen, they have to be happy.
Yo, y'all got headphones?
This is the commissary line.
So the last pair this morning.
That's some bullshit. I ain't trying to watch no silent movie.
Sold out. Next.
Hi, I should have some credit here. My fiance sent a check on Wednesday.
Takes 7 days to process.
So people fill out their commissary list far before they get there, and they turn their list in. This is what the window looks like, but you're not just walking up to the window and ordering stuff. You're handing in your list beforehand, so it's there ready for you. That commissary window, you'll notice there's a line for it. Takes a couple minutes per person to get your groceries or your commissary filled out. The person that works that commissary window, if you give them 1 or 2 tunas, they will call you to the front of the line, give you your bag early, and make it so you don't have to wait in line. I personally never paid to cut in line because no one's got anywhere to go. We're in prison. I would just walk the track or do something else until the line was short and then go get my commissary.
And if you call it shit one more time, you can take your ass down to Danita.
How much to fix it?
Excuse me. Hi. I'm Chapman. Yeah, that's me.
You don't want to be introducing yourself like this, just barging in on people. These guys can be talking about anything here. They're in the barber shop. They're having private time. Maybe if you look up and they wave you in, but you don't just walk into someone's space, introduce yourself. It's just bad prison etiquette.
I heard you might have something that I need.
J. Cruz is around the corner.
Yeah. Cocoa butter or shea butter, do you have either of those?
Maybe.
I would just need an ounce or 2.
Ain't you the one they starving out?
Yeah.
You have some fucked up priorities.
You don't come and ask people if they have things. You ask if you know someone who could get something. That way, you're not making them say anyone's name. They're not making them admit to having contraband. So let's say cocoa shea butter is contraband. You wouldn't just come out of the blue to these people, but when you met them appropriately, you'd say, hey, you know what, I'm looking for some cocoa shea butter if you know anyone who has it. Boom. It's a very gentle way around. If they have it, they'll let you know, or they'll let someone else bring it to you if they want some secrecy. But what you don't do is go up and say, hey, do you have this thing that's contraband? Because people are going to be like, what do you mean? No, of course I don't. I don't have anything illegal. Get out of here. So that's how it goes.
That means, right?
Yes.
3 shower caps or a round brush, whichever they got at Commissary.
Gladly.
This is how you pay for things, though. Basically, you get a commissary list. So if she's asking for something that's worth $5, then the other person will say, okay, you owe me $5. You know, I want 2 tunas and a pack of salt and this other thing that's worth $5 off commissary next time you get it.
You like spicy food?
Sometimes.
Well, one of my girlfriends, she was Mexican. Real talk. She gone now, but she left these.
Gotta be suspicious when people are hooking you up.
I have nothing to trade you for those.
People forget we was all new here once. It's good to know you ain't alone.
There are people that are altruistic in prison. You just got to be really careful. You know, there will people that'll be nice to you and give you stuff you need. Usually they have some other incentives.
Can I get some more corn? No.
Whoa. You don't see that in prison. There's not reaching across people's plate and putting your fork on their fork and eating their food. What people will do is sometimes they'll share food, but in that situation there, the receiver would take their fork, the other person would hold their tray out, and they'd scrape the food from the person's tray onto their tray. If they were sharing food, it goes that way. The other person wouldn't scoop it onto their tray for them. The receiver scoops it onto their own tray, and then even that is a little bit suspect. But what they definitely don't do, and that would be after the meal's over, when they're done eating, they would scoop the food, not during the meal. You definitely wouldn't be reaching into someone's plate and then eating it like that.
Oh, no thanks. Love, I'm too old for hooch.
Don't insult me. Single malt, 12 year.
People are drinking in prison pretty often, actually. It's pretty easy to make hooch, and then in lower security camps and lows, people can smuggle booze in pretty easily as well. So I've seen both the stuff that's just made. I mean, it's as easy as putting some fruits and candies into a bag with some yeast, into a trash bag, and putting it somewhere dark and cracking it every once in a while, letting the gas out. You're going to get hooch like that, or, you know, a lot of times people just have legitimate booze. It's usually hard alcohol just because beer is a little bit bulky and not that much bang for your buck.
Red?
She's busy.
This will only take a second. For your back. It's jalapeno rub. I made it myself.
Decent move.
The capsaicin in the peppers creates heat, which is good for sore muscles, and the cocoa butter is gentle on the skin.
Seems like a decent move by Chapman. You know, it's not something that was necessarily money that she had to go spend. It is something that's unique to her. She's using one of her special skills to kind of offer some value to Red without necessarily looking weak. So this was a decent move, probably not something I would have thought of. So finally something decent we thought out by Chapman.
That new freezer costs more than my car.
Freon leak, huh?
Most likely.
So you get new equipment like this in prison, and they have a budget that they need to spend. Sometimes they are tight on a budget, and sometimes they have a big budget. Well, I shouldn't say what prison I was at. I was in a prison at one point where they had a set of air conditioners. These things were thousands and thousands of dollars, I guarantee it. And they were still in their pallet boxes on a loading ramp. They were there the entire year that I was working at this one place. At the end of the year, they had a dump truck come and throw them away, and then they ordered new ones again. And that was because in that certain department, they had too much budget and they needed to spend it, or else they didn't get it again the next year. So there is some perverse incentives around ordering new equipment sometimes in prison. Also, sometimes they are on a really tight budget. I don't know what the scene is here, but just seeing new equipment made me think of that.
Even you gotta know when you're getting played.
Oh, sounds like maybe Red just wanted a new refrigerator, and so maybe she broke the refrigerator. That's possible too. That definitely happens where inmates will break things.
Oh my god, it worked? It must work.
Your back cream? Yeah. She said it burned, made her smell like a Puerto Rican, but she couldn't. Everyone saw how hard you worked. A for effort.
And the thing about prison also is these are humans. They do respond to humility and being humble and being a legit person. You know, it doesn't get you everywhere in prison, but situations like this, I mean, it can work out. You don't have to act the tough guy role every single situation. You know, it's good to be diverse. Chapman pulled a move I probably wouldn't have pulled it right here, and you know, it's working out for her. And this isn't, I wouldn't say this is not realistic. I mean, you know, people just want to get by sometimes too, especially in camps are low. It's not all fully violence based.
Next.
What?
Next.
So Red's the boss, and Alex gave Piper some food when Piper was supposed to be getting starved out. And you kind of got to go with the crowd a lot of the time in prison. You know, you don't want to stick out at any point. If all the prison is shunning one person and you decide that you are going to take that person under your wing, then all the prison is going to shun you. So one of the main rules in prison is if you're different, you're wrong. You want to stay in the crowd, because when you're in the crowd, you're not sticking out. You're not getting into extra drama like Alex got herself into here. Of course, that's case by case. You know, when you're riding with some of your boys, you need to stick up for them no matter what. But you don't want to go around like picking up stragglers that you feel sorry for. This is an institution movie. This does happen. They show movies, and it's, if you can just kind of be in the moment during one of these movies in a thing full of prisoners watching it, it's quite a scene. It's really funny. People really get into it. People are talking, yelling, laughing. You can hear like half the movie. People are just kind of getting crazy. There is something definitely special about institution movies, being in a room with a bunch of felons, all cracking the craziest jokes, being loud. You're not going to watch a movie anywhere else like you're going to watch a movie in prison. See her swooping that some hidden kitchen food out of her bra. That's nice work. See, this is weird. This is why, one of the things is why you don't want to take gifts from random people, because, you know, then there's the next thing that happens, and it could be some weird stuff like this lady coming sitting next to you and scooting closer. Everything's got a price. So what you're seeing here with the earphones is when you listen to institution movies or watch the televisions, they come through radio stations. So to listen to TV, you have to have a radio, you have to put it on like 90.1 or whatever station that TV happens to be on, and then it'll play through your earphones. That way they're not blaring TVs all over the prison. Each TV is actually quiet unless you have your earphones in. So she's offering to share her earphones here. Okay, now it's time for me to give episode 2 a grade for prison realism. First, let's talk about the good. One of the things that they got spot on was the interaction between the guard or the prison staff in the kitchen and the kitchen crew, the inmates. Now, what we talked about was this idea that they want things to run smooth. They're going to let those kitchen inmates do a lot of things that maybe aren't necessarily above board, as long as they keep the kitchen running smooth. I think they displayed this interaction pretty well, even throwing out there that this new equipment came in, may not have been needed, but the kitchen staff wanted it. We don't know how that got there yet, but yes, these things do happen. Yes, gifts are given. Now, as far as the bad goes, the fight scene was kind of silly. If an officer sees a fight scene, they're going to stop it, they're going to handcuff people, and the fact that they let them get away with fighting, that's one of the jobs officers have, is to stop and punish fighting, and that's most of their job is just around trying to keep people not fighting so that they don't have to do any work. So the idea that that fight happened in front of officers and they weren't tripping, not so realistic. But overall, this episode had a lot of realism, a lot of nuance. I give it a B+. So what'd you think of my grade? Let me know in the comments, and let me know anything else that you'd like to see. If you'd like to see more Prisoner React videos, you can check out the playlist here. If you're actually going to federal prison, I made a step-by-step guide how to survive prison. That's what most of this is for, so check that out here. Until next time, this is federalprisoninsider.com.